welcome two other guests to join us as part of this conversation in its entirety. But first, let me welcome Mr. Solwazi. Good morning, sir, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with us once more.
Good morning, WESN and your viewers and listeners around the world. And it's great to have me back. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Indeed, thank you very much, sir. Well, as we, let's continue the conversation where we left off last week. I think some of the very important points that you made is the need to make young people feel as though they are a part of society. And you spoke to some of the tools that can be given to them and the efforts that society can make, such as just giving them the opportunity to speak and us having a listening ear. But I'm curious to know, Mr. Solwazi, in your opinion, with society in its current state that it's in, and we see what's happening, we often speak about a decay within society, or even that village life that once existed is no longer there. Is society currently, could it be considered a school or even a home for these young people, these youth, to actually learn the tools or learn the lessons that are necessary for a life out there?
Good morning again. Yes, but interestingly, what we are seeing, well, just recently over the weekend, I was telling my wife, I said, wow, people actually live online, right? So if you have young persons taking the cue from what some of the negative things, because not all online is negative, there are some positive, but if they're taking the cues from the negative things they see online, that will definitely shape their worldview. But you ended the show last week on a very important note when you spoke about the drawing that the guy did, and he said that I didn't say, hey, you didn't follow the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said it, I said, boy, I said, this man understands this thing. Because that is something we also miss, right? Because we are so locked in, and this is not an attack on systems or anything so, because you must have procedures, you must have structures, right? But we are so locked into this, like a box, like a bubble, that there is no wiggle room, right? Because what that guy would have done, because you would have had to be there for the whole entire experience, he was totally shut down. And for him to even attempt that is so important. So we really have to create these spaces, expand that box, burst that balloon, where these young people could realize, hey, I could still be me and participate. You mentioned at the starting, there are two guests joining us. When you all reached out to me last week, I said, right, I will invite Isaiah John and Emmanuel Villafana. They have been with us for the past 10 years plus. They have worked throughout within our programs, whether it's in YT, RST, St. Jude's, schools, communities, throughout. They are Roots Foundation. When I reach out to Isaiah, now they are youth. With Isaiah's 24. When I reach out to Isaiah, I said, Isaiah, the station wants us to come back. I want you and Emmanuel. This was Isaiah's response. Nah, Mtima. I and Emmanuel do enough interviews. Take some of the younger ones who you have coming on this morning. Now, I'm saying, I like to use these as real examples, because I could have said, hey, I'm the boss. I in charge. I said, I want you and Emmanuel. Isaiah Roots Foundation created this space that Isaiah and others so comfortable that Isaiah could say, Naimtima, send, and he called names. He said, send so-and-so, they come in on a little later, and, right? So once a youth could have that, could be like to use the word empowerment, it is an abused word, but we don't really empower the young people, you know, right? Or we empower them up to this level because the balance is for us, you know, the balance is for us. So, yes, society has a real responsibility and a role in our actions, not just what we say, else we keep on having talk shops, and sung it nice, either on the pulpit, on the podium, or wherever we choose to get an audience, especially of young people. They have to see that words in action, right?
Mr. Salwas, I'm curious to know, the example that you just gave with Mr. John, Mr. Vilfano. Uh, it speaks to giving youth an opportunity to express their true thoughts and be able to actually say, no, I disagree with this. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. There may be those who are watching and saying, well, that was disrespectful. As you said, the attitude you could have taken was, I'm the boss. You're supposed to be listening to me. So, is there a fine line between allowing young people to express their true thoughts and opinions and even make such decisions? There's a fine line between that and society's approach to thinking, hold on, that's completely disrespectful. We are not tolerating such.
Boy, all of us grew up with this saying from Granny. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yep.
Right? Now, Isaiah's response was, nah, why are you doing that, boy? He said, nah, I'm Tima. And it was true. If you go through our YouTube channel, you will see. As a matter of fact, Isaiah and Emmanuel have been the face of Roots Foundation for years. Right? They were just 10 years plus, right? Emmanuel is 10 this year, Isaiah is 10 next year, right? And what he's saying is true. Give the other younger ones who now come in that opportunity. Because you don't want those who came after Isaiah and Emmanuel to feel, because people already refer to Emmanuel and Isaiah as my children, my sons, the Empty sons. You don't want the others who come in after to feel, boy, there is a clique. There's no clique in Roots Foundation, right? Every youth and adult, every youth have a voice. Every youth have a space. And we going back to last week, they must feel that they are a part of this organization. The youth must feel they are a part of society. You cannot want them to contribute to something they don't feel a part of. Let me be real, Kitan, we're not doing that. So why we want young people, they must contribute to society, they must give back. But then they don't feel a part of. Well, they will contribute to what they feel a part of. And right now, society is competing with gangs. Let's be real. Well, we have 100 and something. We could have 5 gangs in Trinidad, 5 alone. But the entire society is still competing with those 5 gangs. Because this place is where these young people feel a part of. We could be on the outside looking and saying, boy, there's a violent structure, there's a violent this. Whatever it is, they feel a part of.
Mrs. Olwazi, do you think that we have if this society is competing with gangs?
We are competing.
Is it that we have a failing society, or is it that society is failing others?
I wouldn't use terms like that, or even say we're going down you're probably at the top of the slippery slope. I wouldn't think we're going down a slippery slope, or we actually have failed society. When you look at that definition of a failed society, we are, thank God we are not there. But we are failing some in society. So you're correct. We are failing some, right? And listen, we have to do better. I told you before we started that interview last week, sparked some serious conversations, even conversations of frustration, because I always have conversations with my colleagues, meaning others in the NGO world or who do any work we're doing, and people are getting frustrated because they are saying, in most cases, the business community not supporting the work we are doing. And in other cases, we are asking the government, let us support you. Because the government is doing a lot, but we on the ground, we could reach further, right? Last week, the Ministry of Youth Development and National Services had Youth Week, an amazing week for young people. It ended with a spectacular competition, right? I went through 1 or 2 days and I saw a lot of young people. But you would know the ones that need to really be there, and they wouldn't really come out so. No, people might say, always saying that, they wouldn't come out, They'd have things there for them and they wouldn't come out. How we'll get them out is more than just posting something on social media. It's more than just, listen, it's a trust issue to it. It's a trust issue. Because I invited a young man, right? He really wanted to come. And then the rain fell, and he said, boy, Mtima, I stuck home. And I understand, right? But in my intention, I wanted to go for him. Because that way, I would have unstuck you. You would have been unstuck, right? So sometimes you have to do that, right? I invited some young men from a community to a program. All of them said yes to come in. I went up the morning to pick them up. When I went up, I saw one well-dressed, ready to go. I said, where them fellas? He said, boy, I doubt them coming out, And I took that one, and he stayed until he graduated from the program, right? But interestingly, the last day, now he made the hours, but the last day they had an assessment, and he called me and said, I have a diarrhea, I don't know how I get this diarrhea. And I understand what's going on with him, that's fear. Because in his mind, he's saying, boy, it's a test, right? Like when he get trauma, going back to school days. But he still graduated, he made the hours, right? The contact hours. And for the graduation, he called me, and they had 30-something-year-old man I'm talking about. They don't know youth, A young man called me, empty man, you have to come to graduation. I said, boy, tired, not reach home. No. Because he wanted to celebrate this milestone with somebody whom he looked up to, and somebody said, boy, it's because of you. No, I'm not saying that you, Keaton, the Prime Minister, everybody have to do that. But guess what? You have the NGOs on the ground who are doing it. So we need the government to work with us, and we need the private sector to endorse us with their funds. Don't just put on the news how much profit you make for this year, Put some of that back on the ground with the hard targets. You're already working with the soft targets, right? Let us make these young people feel they are a part of this society. That is all we're saying.
Well, Mr. Solwazi, how does the 2 points I want to get into before we take our break, and the first is, how does one build trust and confidence in an individual who has been exposed to vulnerable situations? Not a vulnerable person, as you corrected me last week, but somebody who's at risk of vulnerable situations. How does one build trust and confidence to someone who has been exposed their entire life to these situations?
Very good question. And in building that trust has nothing to do with the individual, has to do with you. Keaton, I always say, we as adults, there's no when people mama guying us. Watch of them, they just talk. Hear me. So why we feel we could mama guy them? Why do we also feel that a person who is in an underprivileged situation, uneducated, right? I have to always quote this gentleman because that helped me to reform me to who I am in a large part, right? And the deceased father Pantin, Jerry Pantin, said, he called it the gospel according to Serval. Respectful intervention, right? We always feel I know how to solve your problem, but they know how to solve the problem, they just got the tools. So you have to intervene respectfully. lack of cultural arrogance. We like to say, when I was small, and hello, the time different, boy. The time different now, right? Yes, it had peer pressure back then when you were small. But look at the peer pressure now with online. So is the world joining in to give you peer pressure? So don't talk about when you were small, lack of cultural arrogance, right? Attentive listening. You don't just listen with your ears. And as parents, you know, you have to listen with your eyes because body language speaks louder than what comes out of the mouth, right? And the philosophy of ignorance. As soon as we come to university, we feel we're right, so we know everything. You don't know nothing because you're not living my life. I don't care what book you read. I don't care what theory you come across. A guy and us had a big falling out for that, right? Because my young people on the ground working, you come about theories. Hello, they're on the ground working, boss.
Well,
You make them feel they don't know what they're doing.
all they teach you is theories, though.
Well,
All they teach you is theories. But that's the thing, Mr. Solwasi, and I'm glad you responded the way you did. It leads perfectly to the second area I wanted to get into, removing stigmas, because we often, as you just mentioned, thinking. I need to stop feeling and thinking that these individuals are uneducated, are incapable, unwilling. Those are the stigmas attached to, you mentioned this YTC, and there's this whole stigma. If he ends up in YTC or if she ends up there, that's it.
yeah.
You spoke to the potential of these individuals and exemplified it through poetry, through artwork. So then, how is that? How do we now break that chain, that stigma? You spoke about cultural perceptions, and us thinking that we know everything. How do we go about now, kind of intervening in our own mindset?
Kitan, you realize it, and I hope the nation understanding this conversation. It's not about them, it's about us. Boss, when I started to work in when it was YTC, I started to volunteer there back in 2005 or 4, somewhere about there. I had to reconfigure my mind. Firstly, I do not want to know what you are charged for. That is not important. What is important is what you intend to do with your life from now onwards. I always tell my boys and them in YTRC, I say, boss, I don't care what you're charged for. What I care about is when you return to society, what are you going to do? Right? So it's about us. All these things, stigma is about our mindset, because I always say also, how I view you is how I will treat you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I view you as a punk, I will treat you as a punk. But if I view as, oh, this Mr. Keaton, a respectable person in society, yes, sir, no, sir, okay, sir, thank you, sir, you're welcome, sir. Outside of that is, the bomb too, yeah, I'm not man, we want, I will treat you how I view you. Society, we need to change our perspectives when it comes to certain groups in the society, and especially where they come from, right? We need to change our mindset. So this was a really important one. When there was a heinous crime that took place and 2 young boys were charged. And we are the public, Keaton, when things come over the news, we say, oh, and them, kill them, this. Because we are wild up, because we scared too,
Mm-hmm.
As a society, we are scared, right? And when that act came up, I voiced my opinion, bam, bam, bam. And when I went to, it was by YTC at the time, the Friday, the superintendent, he said, Imam, come. I don't know where we're going. And I followed him, and he took me to this quarters. And 2 little boys stood up with attention. So I watching the little boys. So I trying to figure out, no, what's going on here? And then when I looked at the silhouette, I realized, oh my God, these are the 2 boys. And I turned to the superintendent and I said, but them is children? He said, this is what society needs to say. And I'm telling you here, tears flow down my eyes because I was once said, kill them, hang them, shoot them, this, that. But hurt people, going back to the theories, hurt people, right? You're not condoning that act that those two boys did, but find out what would have drove two young boys to commit such a heinous crime. And I worked with these two young, but not only I, there are a lot of volunteers, there are the officers. I do single out myself because it could never be a one man. This is not Gotham is Batman alone, and no, this is real life. It takes all of us to make a difference in somebody's lives. I was just one of the individuals, or Roots Foundation was just one of the organizations that intervene in these young men's lives, right? And I know we're strapped for time and stuff like that, but when my lads leave, when my boys leave in YTC, I just have like a party for them. I just ask them, what do you want to eat? I just challenge them. What do you want to eat? Because I know when you go into the gallows, you have your last meal. So going out to the free world, you have your first meal. Because here why Kitan and here why Nation, when somebody who is not conscious really returning to society, here what they do. They take off the clothes they have on because they blight clothes. So right? They go down carnage and they take a sea bath to bathe off that blight. Change into the fresh kit. Eat a roti and copulate. Have some sort of intimate relations. If that is the extent of your freedom, you're going to go back in prison or somebody's going to kill you while you're out here. So I asked my boys, what you want to eat? I remember time one said pizza. I know the length of time he inside of there, he knows nothing about Pizza Hut. So I bought Pizza Hut with the cinnamon sticks. He watching it. Mr. Empty Man, what is this? I start to laugh. I say, you're inside here too long. You call that breadsticks, right? So that is, apart from that, they have to do three things. They have to tell all of us, what did you learn whilst you were inside here? That is one. What life lessons? And the learning is life lessons. What life lessons did you learn? What did somebody say to you, or what did somebody do that impacted your life positively? And the third thing is, what are your plans when you exit that gate? Because Kitan, if they do not have nation, if they don't have a plan, they're going to die on the streets, or they're going to go back now into adult prison because they passed the age based on how long they were there.
Yeah.
What life lesson did you learn? What impacted your life? And what is the plan? Right? And we eat, they say that, and I told all the other lads now, tell them something positive. Now, this is why I stay control now, Kitan. Here I was tell them, I don't want to hear freedom is a must, enough strength, hold it down. I don't want to hear them things. Tell that young man something that could carry him. One boy tell my time, boy, Mr. Empty Man, I don't deal with you. I said, don't care about that. You could still tell him something positive. And he did. So that is enforcement. Hey, I is the man in charge here.
Yeah.
So, it could vary.
Well, I'd say what Mr. Sowas, we're going to take a break because I want to welcome these two other guests with us this morning. But there's something there very profound. Your last meal is when you go to the gallows, but you are instigating that sense of this is where my life starts. Your first meal in the free world.
What do you mean? First, and Keaton, I challenge them. I said, they tell me they want oil. Whatever they ask for, I organize it for them. Because I want to show them we could deliver. So you have to deliver when you go outside here. We could deliver. Ask me what you want. Tell me what you want. You want steak, lobster, we bring it for you. You have to deliver when you go outside here now. And I'm very serious about that.
Well, Mr. Solwazi, let's take a quick break here on the program. When we return, we're going to get into some further conversation. Thanks for being with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be right back after this.
Transform your home with PCU Plus. From stylish furniture to the latest appliances, we have everything you need to create your perfect space. At PCU Plus, we offer fair prices and affordable financing options that are cheaper than hire purchase agreements. With convenient locations in San Fernando, Tobago, Arima, and our lifestyle showroom in Barataria, you're never far from the best deals. Visit PCU Plus today and discover why we're the top choice for quality furniture and appliances. PCU Plus, quality you trust, prices you'll love. Visit one of our locations or find us online to start transforming your home today.
The home of Caribbean content is growing, and we welcome you to be a part of the #1 platform for young personalities who are driven to make a positive impact in society. As we continue to reach every corner of Trinidad and Tobago through our daily broadcasts, our social media pages, or through our 75+ digital billboards across the nation, contact us to learn about our competitive rates via marketing at wesncc.com or call us at 628-5835. WESN Content Capital, television with a difference. The home of Caribbean content is growing, and we welcome you to be a part of the #1 platform for young personalities who are driven to make a positive impact in society. As we continue to reach every corner of Trinidad and Tobago through our daily broadcasts, our social media pages, or through our 75+ digital billboards across the nation, contact us to learn about our competitive rates via marketing at wesncc.com or call us at 628-5835. WESN Content Capital, television with a difference.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward and our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally. The ability of your business to successfully communicate with your preferred audience depends on the strength of the stories you tell. Your vision should be communicated in a high-quality, professional, and creative way. From concept to post-production, advertising to film, multi-camera productions, live events, streaming, and virtual conferencing, we are WESN Film Studio. Let your own unique voice be heard and your vision realized. Call us today at 628-5835 for your next production.
Folks, we're back and better than ever.
Your show have always appeared to be a show that is focused on going to the cause or looking to the cause.
We hardly ever talk about the white-collar crime, though. We always talk about the ones that involve more as physical violence against individuals.
The citizens will only measure transmission when water starts to flow through their taps.
The Constitution doesn't talk about local election.
Contract mafia that's responsible for looting the country, and they own and operate these politicians.
So if you are running a country and you can't say nothing as a prime minister, please take up your bag and go.
It is not comparative to the murder figures, but it is in fact very high.
I believe he's protecting certain individuals.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1, find the style number on the tag. Step 2, match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3, search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm not to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have 2. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
let's go to the last part.
Fan Zone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Welcome back to AM Prime, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us this morning as we continue with the conversations. In fact, Proscenium Theatre Company presents the Vagina Monologues at Bmobile from September 6th to 8th. It's actually aimed at being a groundbreaking production that not only seeks to entertain, but also lead as a platform for societal change. Now, exactly what is the play about? It has really quite a remarkable title. So, exactly what did it speak to us about? I'm joined this morning by a member of the Proscenium Theatre Company, Mr. Mervyn de Gauche. Good morning, Mervyn, and welcome to AM Prime.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
How are you doing this morning?
Alive and well. Couldn't be better.
It's good to know that you're alive. Otherwise, I'm wondering who I'm looking at on the camera. But Mervyn, please, as I said, the title, it really hits you in the face. But it aims to be a platform not only of entertainment, but societal change. What is the Vagina Monologues about? What is the synopsis of this production?
Well, it was created by Eve Ensler's about 22 years ago, and it aimed to get women to just talk about themselves, to talk about their sexuality, to talk about this part of them that represents so much. I mean, it's a sex organ, but it gives birth. You know, we can't exist without it. Not one of us can exist without it. We can't be brought into the world, and yet it's something that nobody ever talks about. You know, when it comes to the male side, we hear about that all the time, 24/7. Not an hour goes by that somebody doesn't do one of those jokes or stories or whatever. And so she had crafted this piece that she interviewed, I think it was about 200 women, and they told their stories about themselves, about their lives, about their sexuality. They told you what pissed them off. They told you what they celebrated, but it's not done in a heavy-handed way. Now, this is not the first production of the Vagina Monologues done in Trinidad. When the play first opened in New York, I think it was 68 countries that it ran simultaneously in. So while it was on Broadway, there was another production in Trinidad being done at the same time. So it was like Trinidad, Sydney, Australia, Korea, London, all over Europe. So we became part of that global community, and we're still part of that global community. And it's a celebration of women. It's women being frank. I've been very privy to conversations between women because when I first started to research it, I had interviewed a ton of women to find out what their take on the whole thing was. When you disappear in the background and you're sitting down just observing and listening, women say the most unexpected things. They forget that you are there and they're talking among themselves. And just, I don't think a lot of men have been privy to that. So the play takes that conversation and puts it center stage. So you will hear how women talk when they're in their own comfort zone, when, you'll hear what they think about a lot of things. I don't want to give away too much, but it's a very, very empowering piece. There was one night that we had it, we sold 200 tickets that night, and it was 199 women and one man, and at one point I swore they were just going to get up and beat that man.
Are you expecting something like that to repeat itself between subsections?
I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect.
It seems as though there's still a lot of difficulty in accepting these levels of conversations.
Well, straight across the board, it's something that we grew up not talking about. We don't really talk about this, with our children. We don't talk about this with our, parents. I've had those very uncomfortable conversations with my mother when we did it the first time because she was one of the women I interviewed. And I come from a very liberal family, and it was uncomfortable for us. So I've even asked all the women in the cast, what is the conversation like, with your parents growing up? I mean, you would be able to answer that too. This is not something that you talk about over dinner, and at the same time you can't say, well, let's talk about sex. Me and my parents, no, that doesn't happen. It's a very, very uncomfortable thing. So once we have permission to talk about it, however, we do, all of us.
Now, in that regard, as creative director for the film itself, for the stage play at this point, actually, you yourself have quoted that you had to work very carefully because some of the monologues, it's comedic, it's dramatic, it focuses on the raw and poignant exploration of women's experiences. Interestingly, whilst we're focused a lot on the audience, what about the cast? I mean, what was the selection process like in getting a cast together that felt comfortable, but also really pushed the whole point or the whole themes behind the stage play?
Casting it was very, very, very easy. There are certain actors that I've worked with over time, with Cecilia Salazar and Tasha Jones. I threw it out to them, you want to do it? Because they knew the piece. Alma, who was supposed to be with us, but is having a lot of difficulty this morning. She lives in Tobago, and it has been basically impossible to work with her. Now, however, because of the whole online situation, we can rehearse online. So I wanted to work with her. I asked her, she said yes. And the entire conversation went something like, Ollie, I'm doing the vagina monologues. You in? The response, yes. That was the entire process. Renee, who I'd never worked with before, I was on a Zoom call with her and the faculty of UTT, because she's a graduate of the Academy of Performing Arts. And I just loved her enthusiasm. She's so passionate about what she does. So I'm like, okay, next time I'm doing something, I'm going to call you. Let's see if we want to work together. She said yes. And Jerry, I had met her when we did Mamma Mia. And she's very, very bright. She's very, very talented. She's interesting. I mean, she's a complete, artist, performer, everything. So it was easy for me to get a cast. And besides, women get a chance now to say what they want. They're unbridled by us telling them what to do. And let's not, confuse ourselves. Men do a lot of telling women what to do. So.
Indeed. But you are the creative director for this stage production. But I've been told that the core production team for Vagina Monologues is female. It's female based, so it underscores not only the entire point or theme of the production, but it seems as though Proscenium Theatre Company is really it's putting forward itself as a dedicated group or platform for women in creative spaces.
Well, it would be cool if it's a comfort zone for everybody, you know, not just women, but because of the nature of the production. And in my experience, women are more active when it comes to going to the theater. And they move in, like, you know, when we had like a group of women coming down to see Amplia, you know, you don't usually get a group of men doing that. So it just lends itself to it.
David, why should people come to this production? Why should people make that journey from all around Trinidad and Bmobile between September 6th and 8th to come and sit and view this production?
Well, it's very interactive. The original version we did was like, you know, them on the stage, the audience is you know, that separation. I have removed that. So it's very immersive. It's an experience unlike any other experience you're going to get in the theater. That's the first thing. The second thing is a really, really beautifully written play. And as you said, it is laugh out loud funny. At the same time, it can bring you to tears. And it's getting the opportunity, for women it's an opportunity to hear themselves as they are. For men it's an opportunity to hear women, you know, in a way that they never experienced it before. So there is a lot going on at the same time, and the stories that they tell, I really don't want to give away too much, but it deals with women from all walks of life, young, old, poor, wealthy, you know, war-torn country stories, and it's so incredible how 20 years later, after it's been written and performed, how absolutely immediate it is. It's, you know, they talk about the war in Kosovo, and it's so reflected in what is going on in Gaza right now, what is going on in the Middle East, in certain Taliban-run countries. So the more things change, the more things stay the same. And I haven't listed the play, you know, once you do it, you put it down, you're done. Yeah. But to pick it up and read it again, and it's so immediate that it really caught me off guard. It's an unusual thing.
Which is always good, actually. It's always something good if it's unusual.
It's unusual. It's unusual. I've had plays that I've done that dealt with other issues, you know, like the AIDS crisis and all of that, and you read it now and it's so outdated, and all the information is obviously been changed. So there's certain plays that, especially these interview plays, where they actually talk to the real people on the ground, they shine a light on areas that we really don't know anything about. And I can tell you from my part, you know, having researched different projects, I have met people from all walks of life, and their stories still resonate with me to this day.
So just to, you know, stress the points once more so that people have an understanding. This is a play for everyone, but it's also a play that, whilst it focuses on a number of issues that women face, it also fuses comedy, entertainment, drama, of course. It seems to be a pivot of almost everything.
Well, there is one monologue that is called My Angry Vagina, and it brings the house down night after night, because it's once again things that women know about that men have no clue until they hear it, and you're like, huh? So there's that. There is the celebration. It's a very celebratory piece. You know, it really, really celebrates women.
So where can people get more information or even details?
Well, you can there's Lemon Pepper in Movie Town. You can get tickets there. The box office opens at Naprimipol on Monday, or you could just go to Island e-tickets and you could buy it online. And they're $300. It's 3 performances only, all in the bowl, which I'm so happy to see Naprimipol coming back into its own, because anybody who has been in and around the arts, the history of the bowl, there are 2 theaters in Trinidad with immense history. The Naprimipol in San Fernando, Little Carib Theater in Port of Spain.
Yes.
And to see the bowl coming into its own once again, that is an amazing thing, because we've had James Lewa coming there, we've had Ralph Mirage coming out there, we had Billy Chen. These are not small names that necessarily there's a garbage truck for us. And so it's a lot of things. It's San Fernando is one of the hearts of culture in this country. So I don't enjoy the journey going down there, but traffic, good Lord, I think they invented traffic. In the middle of the day when we have to go down to the bowl, everybody now going home with whatever. So it's a lot of things that I find, it's a great reason to celebrate. It's good to celebrate in the theater once again.
We'll move in.
Remember, we were unemployed for 2-3 years and with COVID.
But yes, for a number of years. But it's just pleasing to see how the theatre industry in Trinidad is really uplifting itself and raising it.
It's waking up. So that would be a good thing. And I missed it. I would say that.
Well, we can all look forward to this production from September 6th to 8th. Mervyn, thank you very much. Congratulations to you and the rest of the team and the entire cast. And we certainly look forward to what's to come on the 6th and 8th. Thank you. Take care. All the very best.
It was wonderful. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, sir. All the very best.
Okay, bye-bye.
Mervyn is laughing there because Mr. Digo is just saying, it's moving. He's very, very kind and very good, quite a nice conversation before the interview. But just to remind you that the Vagina Monologues takes place at Naprimipol from the 6th to the 8th of September. Showtimes are at 8 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, with the matinee at 3 p.m. on the Sunday. Tickets are priced at $300, and as Mervyn points out, you can get it at Lemon Pepper in Movie Town, Port of Spain, Naprimipol box office, or you can visit islandetickets.com. Amazing technology. You can just purchase your tickets online and make your way to Naprimipol, or you can WhatsApp 728-3358. Let me repeat that number for you. WhatsApp 728-3358. And just one more time, in case you had to grab a pen and paper, it's 728-3358. If you missed that, you can always contact us at WESN, and throughout the day we will be able to share that information with you. But thank you very much once more to Mervyn for joining us on the program this morning. And ladies and gentlemen, you've got another stage production to look forward to, and it's at the Naprimipol, so that's even more exciting. We take a break here on the program, and when we return, it's Wednesday, so you know that means I've only got about 5-10 minutes to make it to studio. To get in that seat with Mr. Ricardo and me. So let's see how the traffic is faring up this morning. We'll be right back.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
The newest book is here, Closer to the Church, the debut novel by author and former mayor Louis Lee Singh. Available at all the Home Store branches, Barataria, West Mall, Shogunas, and C3 San Fernando. Paper-based bookshop 10 Nook Avenue, St. Anne's, WESN 30A Gattaca Street, Woodbrook, Metropolitan Bookshop, Ariapita Avenue, Woodbrook, and all RIK bookstores nationwide. Available online as paperback on Amazon.com and Kindle for e-readers. For more info, call 628-5835 or 389-6504. Also available from author Louis Lee Singh, I Used to Live in Heaven, Letters to My Granddaughters, and Local Government in Trinidad, Conspiracy Against the People.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
There's some that might say it's a jungle out there. Well, it's always a jungle in here on a Wednesday. Please help me welcome Ricardo Mead of the El Socorro Center for Wildlife Conservation here on AM Prime. It's Wild Wednesday. Hello, Ricardo.
Hola, mi amigo. ¿Cómo está usted?
Yep, he should. How did he? Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Sí. ¿Qué pasa?
Yes, let's get to the animals. I did Spanish in university, and I think that's probably all I remember.
Lo siento mucho, señor. Lo siento mucho.
Exactly.
But it's Wednesday, lunes, miércoles, Wild Wednesday. You don't have to learn to say Wild Wednesday.
You're gonna have to learn to say. You have to teach me.
Right? But back from our Central America.
How was your Central America?
Amazing. I'm blown, my head is spinning. I want to do, change the whole world kind of thing when you're so excited and, experiences. And that's what it's about, learning and experiences. Back here and rich life of the center into a transition. You're already changing. Employ the strategies, techniques, and processes that you would have learned to be better. And that's always us striving, to be better. November is going to be 19 years. Next year is going to be the big 2-0. So we want that to be just amazing. And we're hoping in September to really open the new center and get the wildlife hospital 100% functional. So it's a lot, we're setting that hat, hanging it high, but we're going for it. We're going for it all the way. Right? But we continue our programs, and we're back here.
I'm glad to have you back. Last week you pulled a fast one there, though.
What?
Because I was planning to not have
I was planning to have a recorded episode of Wild Wednesday, and then at 7 o'clock, got a knock on the door. Oh, Ricardo sent me. And that was Michaela with Pre-Sal.
Okay. I guess they would have called, but because we're out of the country, they would not have gotten us. And they didn't call WhatsApp. You call WhatsApp, you got us. Most of the times.
But that was okay, man. It was a good surprise. I think you've also brought some young ones with you this morning.
It's baby season. That's something people need to understand. It's baby season.
It's
baby season. I mean, with our tropical environment, throughout the year, we are susceptible, liable to have babies come in. But there's a particular period right around now when you will get the most amount of babies. So every day we're getting calls. And sadly, we've gotten about, since I've been back on Saturday morning to now, I've gotten about 9 calls about manicures. Only 2 sets were able to be saved. Dog or roadside fatality with the mother, and she had the babies in her pouch. But the babies, when they're really tiny, almost like neonates, we can't do much with them. They can't be fed. You try to feed them in the tube, and the tube just destroys their GI system. But we were able to save 2 sets, and hopefully we will get them to a significant size where they can be released. The others had to be put to sleep, sadly. But this happens. So we encourage people, you feed your dog, and 6 o'clock the dog has not eaten, don't leave food in the bowl, please. It's for your dog's safety, because that food could encourage the crapo.
Yeah, frogs seem to like dog food a lot, boy.
But it's protein. It's protein, so it's like a lot of insects rolled up in a little ball. So they've learned how to utilize that. So for your dog's safety and the other animal safety, remove the food, keep it in your house, in your kitchen counter, and you can reintroduce it in the morning. Don't leave it overnight. You don't know what's going to come around. And so your safety, the animal safety, just remove the food. So manicures go after the food, and a lot of times the dogs kill the mother. And one case so far, she had 11 babies in her pouch. Heartbreaking to see that you had to put those 11 babies to sleep because there was no way to save them.
I don't even want to know how or why, but you're right. It's all part of reality. It's responsibilities that we can also
there are things
practice.
that we can do to make a difference. Simple things. Just imagine, 6 o'clock you tell Johnny, go pick up the dog bowl, and we'll put it out in the morning when we get up. That way now the manicure doesn't come, she doesn't get killed, her 11 babies get saved. Simple as that. But we got some guys here today.
I see that, and I think they're kind of itching to come out.
Right, so I'm going to take them out of the container so you can see them better. Quite common. But you know what happens in Trinidad and Tobago? We take things that we see all the time for granted. These are kiskiddies. Great kiskiddies, the big guys.
The big kiskiddies?
Yes, that you know makes the sound that goes, kiskiddy, kiskiddy. So these are babies that we've had them in our possession now for almost 2 weeks.
Okay.
The nest had to be removed from an industrial area. So the mother made, the parents made the nest in a bad area. And before they were damaged, they communicated with us. And we got our volunteers to go there, and they used a man lift, and they went up, and they removed these babies from the nest. And now, without being able to place them back, we had to take care of them, which we don't really like to do. We like to get the mother and father to do it because, one, it's cheaper, it's easier, and it's all around just better. But we couldn't put the nest back anywhere near the compound. So we had to basically bring them with us and feed and take care of them. So they've grown considerably in that time, and now we have them here at the point where they are feeding. So we have the food that they sort of grew up with there before. We have this here. This is the hand-rearing formula for baby birds. And now, today, they've now been introduced to, what do the early birds get?
Early bird gets the worm.
Right, so these birds are up quite early for AM prime, so they are going to get, you guys ready for this? Who wants that? They get the worm. That's how it goes. They get the worm. So we have to do this several times a day. This is what I try to get people to understand. It's not straightforward, cut and dry, easy. This little fast one here. Where do you want to go, buddy? All right, you want to try that? There we go. See, he's starting to walk. Next one's starting to eat. That's how it goes. All different personalities, behaviors. You're going to try it now? You're going to try it now? This one is busy. This one here, see, he's backing up and sticking around. He's going to poop. Here we go. Poop.
Go for it.
Did he make it?
No, not as yet.
Not as yet? He's trying. Oh my God.
He's probably camera shy.
Right? Yeah. That was just a fake out. But that's what they do. That's an amazing thing. So we like to keep them in a nest. So there's a plastic container lined with toilet paper, bathroom tissue, and napkin inside. So that recreates the nest. They custom cuddle together in that little nest up in these cavities. And to keep a clean area, they would wiggle their butts towards the entrance and poop outside.
So they're born with basically
these skills, yeah.
Wow.
They're born with these skills. So that way, they're not stomping around and poop all day and getting themselves sick. So Mother Nature, we always say, has a way of doing things, hey, you dropped that one, buddy. Come on. You try it again? He's probably begging for his formula now, like, these worms are nice, but it's not warm like my formula. What about you? Here we go.
Look at that. Tasty, isn't it?
Right, so let's
Ricardo,
imagine doing this.
Ricardo, have you had your protein shake for the morning?
Well, I have a lot of these. That's why I have my hair so full. I have to cut my hair several times a week. People really don't believe that. But these worms are delicious. And you can tell here, show them how delicious that is. You want to try that one? What about you? All right, so they have gone from being just about nude or bald, and they're feathering up quite nicely. And the worms are important because the worms has keratin in it. The keratin is the stuff that gives us our luxurious hair, our beards, our fingernails, and so on there. So that's very important for the birds. So we try to show people it takes a lot to raise a bird. But we're not just going to raise them. Right now they're friendly. By next week, they're starting the separation process.
From each other?
Not from each other, from us.
Oh, okay.
From us. And that's important because we do not want them to become imprinted. So a lot of people have saved kiskadis and other birds and so on, but they always stick around and want to be around people and to be held and stuff like that, which is not good. Because how are you going to put it back in the wild when it's going to go towards people and their pets and so on, even their vehicles? They can possibly die.
But you're doing something and you're saying something which we've been taught growing up is wrong. Do not ever touch a baby bird.
All right.
Do not ever touch a baby bird, because then you may see it on the ground, you may see it outside of the nest. Don't touch a baby bird, because once you do, you transfer your scent to the bird and the parents will then reject it.
Well, that couldn't be furthest from the truth.
Okay, so
it's really, really
breaking that
inaccurate.
Myth
yeah, breaking that myth. Yes, you can hold them. Most of the times, here we go, here's the poop, he's going to do the poop, he's going to do the poop. Ah, we got it.
Did it.
We got it. We got that poop right there. Yeah, you know when they're going to do what they're going to do, right? So, firstly, 99.9% of birds can't smell. So that is not a factor. So you get the smell on the bird. The mother bird isn't going by smell. See that?
Sound.
Hearing, sound. They call, okay? And if they could smell, they can't smell for miles and all sorts of that, but they can hear, right? That's why they make the sound. So it's about the sound, it's about the look, and other physical characteristics that the mother can pick up, not the smell. Most birds just cannot smell, okay? Why we tell people do not pick up baby birds? Many times when they pick up baby birds, they're actually kidnapping them. The birds literally jump out or kicked out of the nest, and then they begin to learn how to fly and forage and follow the parents.
So they're forced?
You're forced. You have to. You can't learn to fly in the nest. It's just too small. So you got to get out there, get down on the ground. And sometimes now, they will fly around for a while, flop around for a while, and they need to rest. They're babies. They're now doing this. Their muscles haven't been used yet. So they would be there. And they call, hey, there's a baby bird sitting on the ground. And I say, okay, don't touch it. Send me a picture. And that's what I love about the technology now. With that, then now I can see, okay, the tail is mid-short. It's not fully grown out yet. So it's a fledgling. So it's not fully capable of good, long, sustained flight, but it should not be put back in a nest or held by people. What you try to do is separate it from animals. So if you have cats and so on, keep them away. Dogs, keep them away. Keep them inside. But if you leave it alone, you'll observe mom and dad will come back around. The baby will call. They will come with a worm, a mouthful of worms, and feed them. And then the bird will fly after them for a little bit, go in a little tree and so on. And that will go on for about 4 or 5 days, up to a week. And then before you know it, they fly off and they're gone. But that is the fledgling stage. So they have to go through that stage.
And they're most vulnerable at that stage.
They're very vulnerable because now without our threats, and when I say our threats, vehicles, our children, dogs and cats, that's the top 4 bird killers right there. Those are our threats. You remove humans, those 4 threats are gone. The most they would have to face now is a predator. And they're usually safe on the ground from most predators. Then you might have a big lizard or something like that, a mat, which is a golden tegu. But for the most part, they're safe and they know how to hide. So it's all in their nature. But humans, with our eyes and ability to hear them and see them, find them and say, look, this baby bird needs help. Most of the times they do not need help. They need you to leave them alone so they can go about their natural processes of fledging and then becoming an independent flying bird.
Are Kiskadee parents good parents? And I say that because...
Amazing.
Because, no, I ask that question is because I've heard stories, again, growing up. You see what they teach you growing up. Sometimes it's not always accurate. The example just given by Ricardo is touching birds. And they say you should never touch a baby bird because your scent is transferred to the bird. Parents don't reject it. But I guess there's always some tales behind that, as you said, because people are kidnapping these birds, for want of a better way of putting it. But I ask you that is because also I've heard growing up is... Yeah, don't worry. You're good. You're not going anywhere for now. But it's that Kiskadee parents tend to lay their eggs in other birds' nests.
Well, that's not the Kiskadee. That's, there are birds that does that. One bird that does that is the shiny cowbird. All right, so it will go and lay. And so sometimes you see this big brown bird being fed by a smaller bird.
Yeah.
And that's the case. They would lay it in a house wren's nest. And as far as you're concerned, you hatched, you're my baby. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the species, right? I'm feeding my baby that I've been sitting on and so on there. So yeah, the shiny cowbirds, there are quite a few birds across the spectrum of birds throughout the world that actually do that, lay in other birds'
But
nests
not the
and allow
Kiskadee.
them. Not the Kiskadee. Kiskadee is not one to do that. There may be some fight sometimes for nests, but the Kiskadees are great parents. In fact, we had somebody basically kidnap a fledgling, brought it to us because they didn't even communicate with us. They're just like, you know, I found this bird on me. I know where you are, so I brought it. We looked at the bird and he said, asked the question, said, the dogs and cats in the yard? No. Take the bird back. No, who's going to take care of it? I said, take it back, keep it inside tonight, get up at 5:30 in the morning, put the box outside your window. 6 o'clock, I get a call. Oh my God, the mother came and she was feeding them and then the baby took off with her. I said, thank you, you did well. This is what should have been done from the start. So we handled the bird, she handled the bird. It went from one part of the country to the next. It went back and mom still came back in the morning, heard the call and took care of her babies. That is how amazing these birds are as parents. And animals on the whole, amazing as parents. They figure out the way. Even the bird that lays its eggs in another bird's nest, figure out, you know what? You will feed them better than me. And took advantage of that sort of, you know, biological aspect of it. So they always look out for their babies.
But they're also aggressive birds.
Territorial. Everybody's territorial. Every bird is territorial. Have you ever seen the peaceful loving doves fluttering and fighting at each other on the ground almost like roosters? Yep. Yeah, the males going after each other because, hey, this is my area and these are my girls and you're intruding. Every animal must establish their territory and their dominance in order to propagate and carry on their species. It is only in the humans that the strongest don't always survive. In wild, it's the strongest and survival of the fittest. So if there are 50 fish swimming, the shark is going to get the last slow swimming one. The strongest in the front is going to evade and avoid capture. Same thing in the yard. The chicken, the big rooster, is always the last to get caught because he knows the ups and downs how to get away. You'll catch the hen, you'll catch the young poulet, you'll catch all. The big guy is the last one. That's why he's always such a prize when you get him.
Usually speaking, how many eggs are laid by Kiskadee? Is it always 2?
2 or 3. You usually get 2 offspring.
And usually, do both make it to adulthood?
Yes. That's a testimony to the kind of parenting.
That's incredible. Yeah.
They usually do make it out of the nest, and then, well, then the chances with other
factors,
issues coming. But yeah, both of them usually make it out of the nest. Most of the times you go and have to pull a nest or a nest falls down, you get the 2 inside of there. So they do really, really great parenting, taking care of their babies. They're coloring up, they're feathering up, they're starting to look great, and we are excited. All right, this one is making a lot of noise for food, but he's not eating the food as readily as the other one. He's like, I'm only talking food. But the other one is serious. He's like, you talk. Oh, yeah, you go. Here's your Kiskadee.
Yeah.
He's practicing that already. Okay, and they'll also practice grabbing the worm sometimes and flipping their head because when they catch sometimes, they'll even eat a small snake, eh?
Yeah, snakes, small lizards, yeah.
Oh, there we go. So it's just, for me, this is the most enjoyable phase. I'm glad I wouldn't have to be mixing any formula for the rest of the day. Today, you guys are going to be chomping down your worms all the way. Look at that, you know, and just hungrily, greedily, just going at it.
They seem to be enjoying that.
Yeah. And
so it's the first day that they're on these worms, eh?
Today is the first day that they're on the worms. Okay, not all our volunteers have access, and when they're small, they will not go for the worms. So when they come back to us, that's when, because we have the breeding colonies of worms, that's when we start them on it.
So my director is asking whether or not what's the color of the eggs, the eggshells.
Kiskadee eggs has a off-white, bluish, lightly bluish color to it. If they're really blue, then that means they're most likely bare-eye thrush. So there's a lot of nests that look similar. Unless you see the bird going in, you see the nest, we have to try to identify the eggs that way. So there's a light blue tinge in it, but it's mainly white. Most of them are more white, but there's a slight bluish tinge to it. But generally, I would say white. That will generally be it. You'll have to really look to see that bluish tinge. That says you really identify one from the next kind of thing. So they're almost, you see that fuzzy stuff on them, that's a down.
Yeah.
They're born with. So that is going, and their true feathers are coming in. And these worms are here just in time to help them develop those feathers, because it takes a lot of energy, a lot of nutrients for them to push out those feathers. Feathers take up a lot, and they're very important for the birds, but they take up a lot of their energy in terms of growing. It's like humans with calcium and stuff like that there. You need a lot of that there to grow your height and stuff like that. You want one? You want one? So these are, while they're common birds, we need to appreciate them for what they do. They're mainly insectivores.
So they will control the insect population around.
Correct. I love to see them dive down on the ground, grab a grasshopper, get back on the branch, and they'll whip their head side to side to knock him out. Because remember, those grasshoppers kicking big legs can scratch their eyes and so on. And then they just literally chomp them down. Grasshoppers, locusts, crickets, mole crickets, other worms, caterpillars. So things like these, farmers and regular folks who have your little garden should appreciate. There is hardly anything negative other than pooping on your car or nesting in your gallery. You know, the posts go up, but not all the way to the ceiling, and there's that lovely cavity there. They love to build nests there. What I would suggest that is either one, you just leave it alone and appreciate the fact that an animal has found solace and sanctuary in your home to the point where it's willing to build a nest and bring up its young. You know, get your little ladder, your step ladder or stool, and go up there and take your little pictures. Take pictures of the nest building, the egg laying. Check how many days for the eggs to hatch. See what the babies look like. Enjoy those moments. You don't have to wait for David Attenborough to come to Trinidad to do that and then put it on TV for you to see it. We are fortunate you've seen that live in your home or in your backyard or even in a flower pot. Appreciate it. Show the children, show the neighbors. You know, post that on social media instead of all the negative things that we do sometimes that just bog us down. Let us have faith and confidence of being Trinis and some of the nice things about living in a country that is a tropical paradise.
It is a paradise, isn't it?
Watch that.
Very
we
much
live
so.
where they want to vacation.
Yep.
Even on our trip to Central America, people were fascinated. You guys from Trinidad and Tobago, and you have this and you have that.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing thing to live in.
I think recently I was watching one of those documentaries that you spoke of. It's called Wild Caribbean. And 90% of the documentary focused on our diversity, our ecology, our biodiversity. It focused so much on just TNT. You know? So that in itself just tells you.
Yeah, and we just celebrated, was it yesterday, day before? Well, I did the presentation yesterday for World, it was Biological Biodiversity Day. And Trinidad ranks high on the list of diverse countries, biodiverse countries, for this small island. We have 700 species of butterflies, close to 500 species of birds.
Wow.
Most Caribbean islands have 1 or 2 species of snakes. We have 49. Yeah, I don't want to hear it, you know. Yes, you can go to Barbados if you want with your 1 or 2 snakes, so you wouldn't see them, but you wouldn't get to see the other wonderful things that we have here. Appreciate what we have.
I was so happy that on this program we've been able to see a lot of those snakes. I'm still fascinated by the tigre.
Oh yeah.
That to me, that's my favorite thing that I've seen thus far. The green anaconda comes in second. You know, but the tigre was wow. was wow.
Yeah, we have.
Let's not speak about you know, snakes in front of the young ones. You know?
Yeah. These guys, you know, they have this kind of look. What are you guys talking about? They have this sort of look. So this is what people understand. This is going to go on all day long.
Really, you're going to have to be doing this all day long?
Here, like literally every 15, 20 minutes. If I get enough worms into them, I might get half an hour. But they're going to start up again. And I have to stop whatever I'm doing and go feed them. So I used to set, you know, we used to set the a little alarm, a little timer. You don't need that. They'll let you know when they're hungry.
Yeah, they're doing that right now.
They will let you know when they're hungry. You know, okay, you stop feeding them, and if I find you're taking too long, they will pipe up, they will make their noise, and you will do what you have to do. So because we have a crazy day at the center, these guys came with me, and I decided to bring them on the show, because this is part of the process. People think it's just, you know, love them up, kiss them up. None of that. From coming closer to the end of this week, we will actually begin employing the mask, and maybe as early as tomorrow, the mask to feed them.
Yeah.
So that this doesn't mean parent to them. And they will adjust quickly. You give them a chance, their instincts kick in, and they do what they have to do.
I think he's got itis. He's falling asleep there.
Yeah, well, that's what you hope. But and like I said, 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, it's like, okay, I had a power nap, I'm ready for food again. And it goes. So we have to breed and produce literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of these worms.
Continuous worms, yeah.
The whole thing is worms.
Whoa.
Lovely mealworms. And they do taste great. You want to try a few?
I want to try a few. I just want to take a wow.
Well, come on, pop one. I pop
You
one,
go-
you pop
go
one.
for it.
If
Go
I
for it.
pop one, you pop one?
Go for it.
If I pop one, you pop one?
I'm not promising that, but I just want to see you go for it.
We want surety here. We
No,
don't want
I can't give you
We
surety,
don't want
man.
that political stuff that, well, maybe when I get in, I will try.
Which is why I'm being an honest politician and saying I ain't giving you surety.
Well, good luck being an honest politician.
It's true. Good luck being an honest politician.
No, it can happen. It can happen. It can happen, and it will happen. There will be a time when there will be less focus on the people around you and what you do. And I look forward to such a time. What you do as a person. Okay, that's going to be really, really lovely. Not depending on your color or anything like that. And well, like I tell you, they just, you know, when you think they're done, just show them a worm.
Do you want that?
And they go at it again. Look at that. Yeah. And by early next week, they're going to be. We're just going to put them in a bowl with some dirt and some leaves, and they will find them and start to dig and search. And it's a whole process. We have to duplicate what their parents do.
Yeah, it really is amazing if you know, as what you're saying as Kiskili parents, full time, every day, full time.
Yeah, all the time flying around. So imagine now in baby season, which is now, the parents are not just feeding themselves. They have to feed 2 more beings.
So they've got to do what? It's 2 more mouths to feed.
Yeah.
And they eat a lot. They've got to do at least 3 times the amount of hunting that they've.
Correct. So look how many insects they will remove from your yard. So instead of trying to hurt them, hunt them, shoot them with pellet guns, we've got so many shots with pellet guns. Why? Why are you shooting this little bird? What are you going to do? You're just destroying something that is helping you. And this is why we always come on the show to try to teach people something new, a new aspect. Even the simplest things around make a difference. For example, most people don't know that hummingbirds eat insects.
I didn't know that.
Right?
So
even they help out with the little flies, mosquitoes, gnats, and so everything. Mother Nature has a balance in it. It's us who do not seem to have true genetic memory have to try and figure things out. And in figuring things out, it'll take us 1,000 years of destruction and saying, okay, records show that this is bad, so let's not do it anymore.
When it's too
And
late.
by that time, yeah, if we're in the situation of climate change, and I am really hoping for the best for this country, for the world, when the rains come in our part of the world, and they've just about started. June 1st is the official start of hurricane season.
See you Saturday.
Keep our fingers crossed. We have to gear up. We're going to be getting some rest, some exercise, because with the rains come floods, and with the floods come displacement of a lot of animals. And the displacement of the animals usually means that they end up in people's homes or near people's homes, and that's a whole other terror situation to deal with.
Wow.
So caiman, snake, this, that, all sort of things going to be happening.
Ricardo, I want to thank you very much once more for joining us on the program this morning. Thanks for bringing these. By the way, could you tell if they're male or female?
Not at this stage. The coloration and the size and so on, that will give the determination, and you get that a little later on. Right now, they're very, very similar. Very
much
similar.
so, like twins, aren't they?
Right? Yeah. Yep. And one is always going to be a little bigger than the other because the 2 eggs aren't laid at the same time. So because they're laid separately, one will hatch first, and that one that hatch first starts eating first and will grow faster.
Oh, okay.
So one's going to be a little bit bigger than the other.
Wow. Ricardo, thanks so very much. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thanks for bringing these guys with us.
Always a pleasure to come on. I hope folks out there are just learning. If they pick up one little thing every time we do this, we will have better educated citizens who will make better decisions with regards to our wildlife and our own lives.
Very much so. Ricardo, take care. All the best.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to you guys. All the best. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on AM Prime this morning. Wishing you a safe day ahead, a productive one. I'm Keaton Shaw, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.
WESN.
Folks, we're back and better than ever.
Your show have always appeared to be a show that is focused on going to the cause or looking to the cause.
We hardly ever talk about the white-collar crime, though. We always talk about the ones that involve more as physical violence against individuals.
The citizens will only measure transmission when water starts to flow through their taps.
The Constitution doesn't talk about local election.
Contract mafia that's responsible for looting the country, and they own and operate these politicians.
So if you are running a country and you can't say nothing as a prime minister, please take up your bag and go.
It is not comparative to the murder figures, but it is in fact very high.
I believe he's protecting certain individuals.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that spit arrangement.
Nah, you don't need to register nothing. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
They believe we defend criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploiting the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Young at heart, purpose-driven, patriot even. When you like to party, but are still passionate about discussing important issues, the only place where your needs will be met is WESN Content Capital.
it is dominated by the far left. The other reason is that for many people, this alliance, because it is dominated by the far left, is just as unpalatable as the far-right Rassemblement National, which was boycotted by many voters. This far-left party has failed on several occasions to denounce violent protests. It has failed. It has been highly critical of the police, and in many ways it is seen as extreme, as outside the Republican arc, as the far right, and that is how Emmanuel Macron himself qualifies it, and a fair number of French voters are glad that he does.
All right. Well, what outcome is Macron hoping for by continuing these consultations? He met with a delegation from the right-wing Les Républicains today.
Yeah, so those talks with the Les Républicains, that is now has been renamed La Droite Républicain. It is the mainstream right party, which was a big force once in French politics. It was Nicolas Sarkozy's old party, now much reduced, only between 40 and 50 MPs. And those talks this morning went nowhere. Their leader came out and said it was all very disappointing. Macron proposed nothing. That party has ruled out any formal coalition with Macron centrists. And so they say they will support on certain policy issues, but no change there. What Macron is trying to do is to prize the centre-left elements away from that left-wing alliance and try to cobble together some sort of centrist coalition, national unity government, if you like, from smaller parties on the right, but the centre-right, right through to centre-left, Social Democrats, if you like, in that left-wing alliance. Whether he will be able to do it is extremely doubtful. He has sown considerable division on the left. It was already there. It has broken out. Some on that left-wing alliance are calling for his impeachment on the far left. That has created division because those on the centre-left want nothing to do with such an idea. There are calls for protests on the 7th of September. Some on that left-wing alliance back them, some don't. There is division. But so far, in terms of finding a new prime minister, we are no nearer.
It's hard to imagine him finding the numbers if the La Droite Républicaine is not with him.
It isn't. Tonight he's at the Olympic opening ceremony, the Paralympic and opening ceremony. Tomorrow he's off to Serbia. Short time for him.
Well, a lot on his plate and the pressure mounting. France 24 International Affairs editor Angela Diffley, thanks so much for that analysis. Next, a large wave of Russian missile and drone attacks continued to target Ukraine for a second day on Tuesday. The attack, primarily targeting Ukraine's civilian energy infrastructure with water and power, knocked out across cities, including the capital, Kyiv. Meanwhile, Ukraine's military incursion into the Russian